My sister is severely autistic, and I hate her for turning my life into a living nightmare. I resent her, and I know that's not a kind thing to admit, but it's how I feel. Ever since my little sister came along, it's like I've become invisible to my parents. I was 7, thrilled at the idea of being a big sister, but that joy didn't last long. The change crept in slowly, but hit hard. One day, I was moved to the attic because she needed to be near Mom and Dad's room. The attic was drafty and unsettling, far from the cozy closeness I used to feel with them. Up there, nights dragged on, isolating and quiet, while I could hear the family's laughter downstairs. Like I was no longer part of it, just a shadow in their lives. Losing my things to her stung even more. She didn't mean to ruin my stuff, but she did, over and over. I tried telling my parents how much it hurt, hoping they'd see my side, or at least care. Instead, they brushed it off. She's little, she doesn't know better. You're older, you need to be patient. It felt so unjust. Those things were my sanctuary, and watching them get broken without anyone stepping in just deepened the sense that I didn't matter. The laptop incident was the breaking point. My school gave it to me for excelling in class, a rare moment of pride. Then one day, it was wrecked. My teachers scolded me for being reckless, and my parents piled on, blaming me without asking what happened. No one cared that it wasn't my fault. I was angry, wounded, but mostly, I felt alone, like no one was in my corner. It wasn't just a laptop. It was about feeling like I had no one to defend me. Balancing being a sister and having my own life is exhausting. I care about her, of course, but it's like my parents forget I'm still young too. Whenever she needs anything, I'm expected to drop everything. Whether I'm studying, chilling with friends, or just trying to catch my breath. It's like I'm on duty all the time, without ever choosing it. I can't even recall the last time I hung out without glancing at my phone, worried I'd miss a call from home, demanding I race back. My life feels stuck, always on hold, waiting for the next emergency or request. The day I decided to see the new superhero flick was a big deal. It had been forever since I'd planned something just for me. My friend Sam had been hyping it up for weeks, and his enthusiasm was infectious. I needed that escape, a few hours to just be a teen, not a caregiver. So I made a choice. For once, I'd switch off my phone and enjoy the movie without stress. Just a couple of hours, I thought. Leaving the theatre and turning my phone back on felt like a punch to the gut. Missed calls and texts flooded in. I called home right away, the movie's joy fading with every ring. When Mum answered, her voice was sharp, slicing through me. "Where were you?" "We needed you an hour ago." I could hardly explain. I hurried home, guilt mixing with frustration. Walking in was like stepping into a hurricane. My parents were livid, their disappointment heavy in the air. "We count on you, and you just vanished to see a movie." Dad's tone was biting. My sister's sounds in the background, only sharpening his words, like going to a movie was a betrayal. I tried to explain that I just needed a moment for myself, but they didn't hear me. "Your duties here matter more than some film," Mum said, her words final. They punished me, called me selfish, all because of a movie. Later, in my room, it sank in. This wasn't about the movie. It was about being trapped in a role I didn't choose, craving a sliver of normalcy in a life that feels anything but. At 17, it's hard to feel like I'm not allowed to have my own life. Living here feels like being caught in a cycle where everything orbits around my sister's needs. I understand she requires extra care, and I want to help, but sometimes it feels like I'm just a tool, not a person. I'm only noticed when they need something for her. The constant refrain, "Help your sister, make sure she's okay, don't you see we're busy with her?" It wears me down. It's like I'm less a daughter and more a hired hand. This sense of being bound to her needs, it's overwhelming, making me question my own place in the family. There was one week that felt like it might be different. I was picked to present a talk at a school assembly, and that recognition ignited something in me. I poured my heart into that speech, crafting every line with care. When my parents promised to be there, I felt seen for the first time in ages. I worked on it every evening, picturing them in the audience, maybe even beaming with pride. That hope was a rare bright spot in the usual gloom of my routine. But they didn't show up. Something with my sister came up, as always. Standing there, about to speak, and not seeing them broke me. I gave the speech anyway, my voice unsteady, hands shaking. People clapped, but it felt hollow. Walking home, tears kept coming, not just for the speech, but for every time I've been pushed aside. It was another reminder that my moments will always come second. Talking about college with my dad started out exciting. For once, we were focused on my future, my dreams. We flipped through websites, discussed programs and schools, and I started to imagine a life away from the chaos at home. It was the closest I'd felt to hope in a while. Then Dad made a comment, half joking, about choosing a lucrative career so I could support my sister when they're gone. He chuckled, thinking it was harmless, but it crushed me. All my pent-up frustration poured out. I broke down, sobbing, then shouting, telling him how unfair it is that my life is always tied to being her keeper. I spilled everything, every sacrifice, every time I felt ignored, every moment I've had to put her first. But they just stared, blank-faced, like I was speaking. Nonsense. No comfort, no apologies, just cold silence. That's when it hit me. They don't see my pain. I stormed to my room, slammed the door, and I've been here for hours. They haven't checked on me. Not a word, not a knock. It's so isolating, knowing even my outburst, my raw hurt, isn't enough to make them care. I'm stuck in this role they've forced on me, and my feelings don't seem to matter. Am I wrong for wanting more? For wanting to be more than just my sister's future guardian? It feels like my life, my worth, is nothing to them, just a backup plan for her. After a day stretched into 2 with no word from my parents, something inside me shifted. I realised I couldn't keep living in this cycle, always dragged back into the same overwhelming role. It wasn't just about needing a break. It was about craving space to figure out who I am without the constant pull of family demands. I thought of my grandmother, who's always seemed to understand me. Without overthinking it, I threw some essentials into a duffel bag one evening and left. I messaged her that I was on my way, half expecting her to urge me to stay or alert my parents. Instead, she replied, "Come on over. Doors unlocked. Staying with Grandma has been a revelation. It's not like we're having profound talks every minute, but the peace here is different. She gives me room to breathe. We've chatted about college, about what I might want to pursue, and for the first time in ages, I can think about my dreams without guilt or pressure. She's encouraged me to focus on what I want, not what I feel I owe others. In just a week, I felt more like myself than I have in years. We've shared dinners, watched classic films, and she's told me stories about her teenage years. It's been simple, grounding and liberating. I've even started browsing college websites again, exploring programs that excite me, not just ones that promise a paycheck big enough to support my sister someday. Being with Grandma has shown me what life could be like, and I want to hold on to that feeling. Thank you all for the incredible support and kindness. I never imagined my story would resonate with so many. After reflecting, I realise you're right. I don't hate my sister. It's not her fault she needs extra care. My parents tried to talk to me after my outburst, but I couldn't face them. I just cried and asked them to leave. They've arranged for me to stay with Grandma for now, and we've agreed I need this time to gather myself. We'll sit down later this week to discuss everything. Thank you again for all the love. It means the world. When I opened up to Grandma about why I fell apart, her reaction was intense. I expected surprise, but she was visibly shaken, almost angry. I poured out everything, how I've been my sister's unofficial caregiver on top of everything else, how it all unravelled with my dad's offhand comment about college and being responsible for her forever. Grandma was furious, especially when she learned my sister was supposed to have professional care that she's not getting. She said things I'd rather not share, but the core of it was that my parents were neglecting their responsibility, putting an unfair burden on me. She couldn't believe they'd hidden this from the family, and was especially upset about the movie incident, calling it a clear sign of how wrongly I've been treated. Grandma's usually so calm, so seeing her this upset was striking. She insisted I not speak to my parents without her present, which felt like a weight lifted. She said she'd handle them first and be there for any future talks. Over the next few days, my extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, reached out checking on me. They were as stunned as Grandma, learning my parents had claimed they'd hired a professional caregiver for my sister, even taking family money for it, when no such person existed. Everyone was hurt by the deception, especially over something so serious. This week has been a whirlwind, tough but also clarifying. Uncovering my parents' lies was heavy, but there's been a silver lining. My family stepping up in ways I didn't expect. Grandma's been at the heart of it, pushing me to rediscover being a teenager. It's strange but wonderful to be encouraged to hang out with friends or just relax without guilt. My aunts and uncles have been incredible too, stopping by, bringing meals, and really listening. It's like they're determined to show I'm not alone. For the first time in forever, I'm not just the caregiver or the sister. I'm just me, and it feels amazing. The talk with my parents on Sunday evening was a mess. I went in hoping we could start to mend things, but it crumbled fast. They admitted to things I can't even bring myself to write here. But the worst part, not a single apology. Instead, they doubled down, saying I was essentially born to look after my sister. Mum actually said it, like my whole existence was for her care. Everything I'd learned, all the support from my family, came rushing out. I confronted them about the lies, the non-existent caregiver, the money they took but didn't use. They deflected, made excuses, and by the end, things felt worse than ever. I'd gone in with a flicker of hope, but left feeling like any chance of fixing this was gone. After that disaster, I decided I was done. I talked it over with Grandma and my aunt last night, and we agreed I shouldn't go back. Today, I'm officially moving in with Grandma. It feels strange, this big shift, but also right, like I'm finally steering my own life. I've also decided to go out of state for college after high school. The idea of a fresh start is exciting. My uncle, who's been a rock through this, said he'll start sending me the money he used to give my parents for my sister's care. It'll go toward my college fund now. My parents have called a few times since Sunday, but not to apologise or check on me, just to ask when I'm coming back. It's like they don't get why I left. I'm nervous about this change, but I also feel lighter, like I'm finally choosing myself. Today feels like the start of something new. Deciding to leave was hard, and there's a knot in my stomach that lingers, but I think it'll ease with time. The support from my family has been overwhelming in the best way, making this feel less daunting. The painful truth is I've lost my parents in this. It hurts to process, and sometimes I wish things could have been different. But I've realised something crucial. I don't hate my sister. The resentment I felt wasn't about her. She can't help how she is. I love her deeply, and blaming her for my parents' choices was wrong. I hope I can make that right someday. For now, leaving is what I need to find myself, to figure out who I am beyond this role. It's a journey, but I'm ready. Edit. Thank you all so much. I wish I could reply to everyone, but my break is short. I'll update tonight about how the move went, but for now, your support means everything. Moving out was surreal. Grandma and my aunt were there, helping me pack my life into boxes and bags, everything that mattered, plus essentials like my ID and passport. It felt official, like I was gathering pieces of my old life for a new one. My parents were quiet. Mum left with my sister soon after I arrived, leaving Dad to watch us pack. He barely spoke, just lingered in the background, the tension thick. As we were leaving, he broke down, saying he loved me and would miss me. After days of silence, those words hit hard. I hugged him, said goodbye, and it was one of the toughest moments of my life. Now in my new room at Grandma's, I keep replaying it. Did he mean it? I want to believe he did. For now, I'm focusing on what's ahead, hoping maybe one day we can find a way back to each other.